I would say if in the city we have large rooftops, large landfill sites, all those unutilized, it's actually better for the city people because city usually don't have a condo living, right? You don't have a roof to for your own solar.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Richard Liu. He is the CEO of SolarBank Corporation. And Richard, it's good to see you again. How are you?
Good morning, Steve. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, excited to have you along, learn a bit more about the company. I know you've had some recent news. We'll talk about them in just a second, but tell me a little bit about SolarBank.
Yeah. SolarBank is a Canadian company. We started 2013. We did very well in the Ontario's Green Energy Act. We have a lot of projects that we developed, built, owned, and operated at this moment. We went to the States 2017, and now we are a major player in the US community solar market. And we built a dozen of those community solar farms and selling power to residents at a discount. In addition to renewable energy generation, we're also in the battery storage, currently building 3 large-scale battery storage for the Ontario government. And also we're in the EV charging business, currently working with Walmart along the West Coast starting, and it's going to be across the country to get into the decarbonization of the transportation business.
Yeah. Is there one area that you focus on more, or do you want to build all of those together at the same time? Obviously, you're way ahead as far as the solar is concerned. So is that sort of the primary, and then everything adds on and after that?
SolarBank is a very aggressive company in terms of advancing the decarbonization agenda, but financially are very conservative. So we are building on our past success over the last 11 years, has always been cash positive and profitable. But now, as we're moving forward with the battery storage, which has a 23-year Ontario government contract, and then on top of that, we add to the EV charging. So I would say that financial responsibility comes first, and then implementation timetable is advancing as we see fit.
Yeah, you mentioned you're in the United States now and obviously doing well there. And one of the recent pieces of news that you had out was building one of those community solar projects you talked about in East Bloomfield, New York. Just talk to everyone a bit about how they work and more importantly, this particular site, because it sounds like it's a really interesting one.
Thank you, Steve, for asking. Actually, this is the second project that we are doing in Eastern Bloomfield. Very nice upstate rural community there. And what we did is that we secure a site, which is a non-productive land. And then we worked with the local utility, get interconnection. And then we have great support from the local township and then permitting authorities, so on and so forth. So now that project is permitted and we're moving forward into the engineering, procurement, construction. SolarBank is a licensed engineering firm, so we do the engineering ourselves. And we're also a general contractor for all the projects we build, so we can guarantee the timeline, the cost, and the quality. At the end of the day, when they get to commercial operation, the power will actually be shipped to the grid. Let's say you are one of the community members living nearby the solar farm, that you will continue to receive the utility bill, right? But the only difference on the bill, you will now have a credit. Let's say your electricity bill is $100 a month, right? Now you will have a credit of $90, right? So you're actually only paying, the $90, right, to SolarBank, and then so that's the savings that you will get. So it's really a good way for people who could not have solar on their own roof or could not actually participate in any other way. And this opens a market for more than 50% of the Americans in the United States.
Yeah. And Richard, are these projects better in sort of like a rural, like you mentioned, upstate New York, or are they better in cities, or is it something that you can do pretty well anywhere and get benefit from?
I would say actually, it's better in all of the places. But I would say if in the city we have large rooftops, large landfill sites, all those unutilized, it's actually better for the city people because city usually don't have a condo living, right? You don't have a roof to for your own solar. So we actually are looking into a few sites inside the New York City.
Okay. And lastly, just give us the next 3 to 6 months to a year out. What should people expect? I imagine there's a lot of things you're focusing on.
We were quite happy with the team's ability to execute, and as you know that as I mentioned, we have always been cash positive, profitable over the last 11 years, and that tradition will continue. So in the next, I would say 3 to 6 months, let's say the next 12 months, you will see our financial reporting, first annual on the Nasdaq listing. You will see that we are implementing the battery storage in Ontario. We have quite a few constructions going on in New York, which should achieve commercial operation. More importantly, not only we're doing solar, we're now actually in other states doing solar and battery storage as a combo. So there's certainly a lot of news to come into the market for our investors.
All right. Well, we look forward to following it all. Richard, thanks so much for giving us an update on what you're up to. Very busy and lots of work ahead. So appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, there's Richard Liu. He's the CEO of SolarBank Corporation.